Good morning, guys. Since we're getting a little micro pullback, I'm going to go ahead and comment for a little bit. Also, uh, my wife is being induced today, so I will not be around outside of mobile. So if I don't get you a plan tomorrow, I'm going to try to get you an update or whatever because I'm still going to be trading. I still have to take profits. I don't get to get out of that just because I don't want to update Discord, but I'll send you guys some information absolutely regardless. That being said, the formality of a plan, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so let's talk about how you guys can do this without me and still kill it. There's no reason to assume that we're gonna be done here. Every little flag is pullback. Is buyable in my opinion. I think that this is the next target. I think you could even shoot higher. Generally, what happens on these one fib extensions is even though they're resistance, you cruise through them and then you flip them to support later. Okay, so it could give us some drama around here, but I do believe that it's going to be the higher low later. So don't assume this is the target necessarily. Think of this more as a resistance to support flip on the highest time frame. This was pretty cool overnight. We didn't know what this flag was going to look like, but it did end up giving a flag. It dipped the flag, it recovered the flag, it's pushing towards the next target. It's great. Um, yeah, that's it. There's no strategy here, guys. You push it until it breaks structure. So, like for instance, this pushing right now does not mean this flag is over, right? So the only thing you can control here is your risk to reward, meaning if you have a profit and you're sitting on it, you get rid of some of it. The theory behind it, guys, is everything gets retraced always, right? So if there's a big green candle, the chance of it coming and filling this gap is extremely high. The lower the time frame you're on, the higher chance it is. Once you're on the high time frame, this gap behind becomes a bear target, or vice versa for a bull target. Okay, so basically what you're doing is every time you're sitting on a W, you need to know it will be retraced eventually, and your goal is to get out. Um, and then when he eventually does retrace, you get some back in. You don't want to be all the way out and you don't want to be all the way in because you're never going to be able to predict the exact vertice of what the angle is. You're also never going to be able to predict the exact top, right? So there's artistry to it and there's analytical stuff to it. Analytical being like, I think the target is where it is. Artistry being like, well, we don't really know what kind of funny pictures they're going to draw. Is this one going to be an elephant? I just don't know, guys. Bitcoin's going to go eventually. Same thing as yesterday. Very annoying ticker, but I think it's good. Riot looks good to me. It every time it comes down like 1 or 2%, I was like, that seems about right. But this right down here needs a higher low, and that's what's being provided right now. Okay, and it's not breaking the swing low, so this is good bullish consolidation. I expect it to go higher. Riot earnings are soon, so be aware of that. And Mara are the day after. Okay, Mara exact same thing, saying a higher low. Remember, Mara's a little bit weaker than Riot, so this higher low is going to look a little bit worse, but it's still same thing. We're expecting higher, right? Also, you should have a stop loss in for Riot below this because this higher low is necessary for this play to work, right? So there should be nobody taking a loss on this short-term Riot play based on where the trim was and where the higher low is and where the stop loss is. Zero losses should be taken here. If you are at risk of taking a loss, you either have too much leverage or you didn't trim at the right time. This is not the end of the world. I think you're on the right side of the play, but for future reference, you probably should. Okay, you should. You should keep yourself. Uh, the theory is the longer you're in the game, the more money you'll make. So it's okay to not maximize every play if you're protecting your capital. Protect like your capital at all costs. And then the longer you're in the game, the better off you are because you're just chipping up, right? You're never going to swing for the fences because doing that leaves you exposed. That doesn't mean that we don't expect a huge move here. I do. So I'm looking for upper 30s for Riot if I didn't say so before. Once that hits, I'm hoping that hits first. So I can take that Riot power and put it in Mara, but you never know, guys. Right now, I'm more weighted Riot for the reasons I just told you. AMD, this was a perfect play. I don't know what to tell you, guys. I narrated this 4 or 5 days in a row. The initial bounce, the come down, this right here. I had this off by like maybe $3 at some point. The you can take once the high is broken, you can take the long with a stop loss right here. You should be trimming on this 6-7% move. Uh, the long was over this, by the way. So once we broke here and started breaking on the flag, this is a great long. This, by the way, this is a. So the reason I can do these high time frame tickers for you is I'm basically playing the same plays I play on ES, but I can control them better because I'm doing it on a higher time frame. So this right here, the entry I just took you through is the third reclaim entry, right? There's the first reclaim entry where you get the initial push of the reclaim level. So we broke resistance right here. First reclaim entry, boom. Second is the retest entry, boom. Third is when you break the plane, done, and then put the stop loss below here. So I'm basically working you through ES plays that I talk about every day, but I'm doing it on the high time frame, so I can I know that whether you enter today or 4 hours later or 16 hours later, it's not going to really change the play that much, and that gives me a ton of wiggle room to talk to high time frame people who might be at work or can't pay attention to the market all day, where ES demands very tight risk to reward, and you need to know about these plays as they're happening. This gives us plenty of time. These are hour-long candles. Your entry doesn't need to be pitch perfect. You should be targeting 670 for this plus. Then we will look for a higher low. My suspicion is that this push is the same thing ES is going to do, and this is the higher low off the 1 fib. Okay. This is sympathetic to Bitcoin. We already know this. Upstart has earnings tonight. Be aware of this, guys. This is coming. I want higher. I don't want to see red candles anymore. I don't think you should be gambling calls here, but I am long. Okay, I am long, and I'm long to like 110 on the high time frame because I am looking for a sweep of these highs and a back test of this breakdown. These are concepts I am working through, the same as ES, right? I'm just doing it right here. Let's see how Meta's doing. Looks fine. Chopping, just as long as a higher low is not lost, it doesn't matter. It's probably going to give you more drama, but you shouldn't freak out over Meta. It looks fine. SpaceX on his way. I never did buy those calls, but I will get out at break even. Netflix looks fine. Looks really good. Guys, it's finishing the higher low off here. This is going to, once we break the plane of right here, this is a false breakdown, and it's going to start expanding. So the catch-22 about buying calls is as soon as it breaks the plane up here, calls are going to get super expensive. But before it breaks the plane, calls might not work. so it's kind of like a devil's bargain, right? We are not certain that our play is going to work. All we can control is how tight our risk to reward is, right? So our risk to reward is very tight in shares. It's very tight in leaps, which is what I hold, right? But I've been holding leaps for a while, right? This play's been going for a long time. But I know my leaps are going to be good when we break here. I also know that you shouldn't be buying them when we break here. So if that makes sense, the premiums are going to jack as soon as people know it's going to go higher. That being said, guys, there's nothing wrong with shares, right? If you could put on like a solid 15-20% a year for years and years and years, you're basically like a king in a hedge fund world, and there's infinite liquidity in shares. So I don't think about it. Everything doesn't need to be calls. Every play doesn't need to be maximized for. I honestly believe a lot of the times it's a FOMO component. People want to maximize every play because they feel like it's going to be the last, but it's not the last. A new play comes up all the time, right? And all you want to do is control that risk to reward. So you never have to feel like, oh, I missed out. Woe was me. I'll never get in another one again. There's going to be another one. You don't need to chase a favorite ticker. Apple's the same thing before. I am looking for a reclaim. I do believe Apple's going to go higher, but I think it's going to jack around on the bottom. I don't want to commit capital to this until I'm convinced that it's done. I'm going to do this very similar to the AMD play. When this breaks the local high right here and right here, I do think that there's going to be the initial spike. Look, I'm going to work you through it just like it's an ES play. Initial spike, boom, right here. And then there's going to be a higher low entry right here. And then you can play it where it breaks the initial plane right here. And you can take that all the way up to the mid 300s. Okay. So, I'm just, like I said, I'm working you through these plays on a high time frame. They can fail, but the idea is we're going to get such a tight risk to reward on some of these entries that if they fail, it doesn't hurt. And if they succeed, you should be chipping up 10, 15, 20% per play just in shares. Some much bigger. Palantir, I am out of here. If they leave without me, I am just not going to play this stock anymore. Like, I don't know what to say. I know that the target's higher on Palantir. Like, I know it's much higher. I know it's around 230, but I did want to see it stop and flag for a little bit. If we zoom out right here, I wanted to see once it got to the top of this range, kind of retreat, flag, and then give me another entry. As you're aware, I entered down here, somewhere near the support. I don't have my portfolio open. I'm just looking at charts right now, but I want to say it's probably in the 130s, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher. It doesn't really matter. I could be wrong, but it's close. I held through this drawdown because I knew the target was higher. But if this leaves without me, it'll be very frustrating. Since I had a starter position this whole time, I never added to it. I held the drawdown. It wasn't that painful. Now I held through this move, which didn't give me a ton of money. It just gave me out a green trade. But I do want to see a retrace here. If you are a guy who holds Palantir in your portfolio, there is no reason not to just keep holding on the high time frame. I'm just not that person. I just wanted to trade. I don't want to own Palantir. Just for personal reasons. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but I don't like it. I don't like it as a company. Wolf looks good. The entry was great. Nvidia, I don't really cover that much. Oxy's going to slow bounce all the way up the range. I hope I gave you guys enough ammo to be able to do the right thing. God, Bitcoin is so freaking explosive. How long is this piece of crap going to take? Honest to God, it should be going to 70s any freaking time. And it should have been doing this over the weekend, to be honest with you. All the divergences, they're like lining up divergences to take these highs, but it's like they can't express them. It's like they're afraid of something or they're waiting for some news. And I'm not tuned into the Bitcoin community, so I don't really know what that news is, guys. I don't know. I don't know. But I know that it coming up to 74 is immensely likely. Immensely likely. And then there's a great chance it just blows through here, higher lows off of it, and keeps going. Because the chance that Bitcoin isn't going to set a new high, especially when we leave all these back tests behind, is minuscule. Here's the thing. So normally when a ticker, when I'm taking a play, I'm thinking I need to get out of here when we backtest the breakdown. But when something sets up a lot of stuff where things appear weird, like for instance, if it consolidates way too long, like Bitcoin going sideways for 8 months, or it misses a bunch of backtests on the way down, it's setting up a squeeze. Like I know that Bitcoin is stronger than the average play despite the price being lower, if that makes sense. And this could dip off the face of the planet tomorrow to like 55. You would think I'm an idiot, but I would just use that to stop out and launch a way bigger position from lower on the chart instead of waiting for it to come up to 74, trim, setting a higher low and getting in again. Because I know that this is going to launch when it's time. I just don't know what the time is. So I have to hold, unfortunately. I don't have an option. I have to hold through the mess, and the mess has lasted since January this year. So this is a serious consolidation, and I'm on a very high time frame chart. But the chances of it not testing these highs, look at, there's gaps all the way up to like 125. It's going for it, right? Let's check out VIX real quick. The reason I think there's a lot, VIX is about to come down. We're going to buy VIX calls around $12 to hedge for what I think the market's top's going to be. Not the permanent top, just a short-term top, but we're not there yet. I think there's tailwinds for the market because I think VIX is going to collapse. Same thing with the DXY. I think DXY is coming down. I don't think it's coming down this low on this first move, but it could. I just, all this stuff is news driven, meaning this move will eventually happen, but I don't know the narrative they're going to release to justify it, right? Something's going to happen and it's going to tank the value of the dollar. I just don't know what that is. Simply don't know. WGMI looks good. This is the miner ETF. This is what I plot all miners against to determine which miners I want to be in. Mara, Wolf, and Riot are the ones that I like the best, even though there are obviously a bunch of miners. Looks like oil is finding its higher low. I still think oil is going higher. I think it's going to be a grind, though, so that's why I'm not long. XAU looks... Oh, yeah, XAU is going to finish. Gold's our end of the year play. This is not the one to be in right now, guys, but the chances of it doing something like this, trapping long, and then just capitulating are so incredibly high that I'm willing to sit on this gold short, or not gold short. I'm willing to sit on gold for a solid year and do nothing and short this thing down 1,000 and then ride a ripper straight back up. If you're looking to buy physical, now's not the time, unless you're just looking to to go into pawn shops and scalp your mom's earrings, because there's just little bounces here and there, I think, in the future before a capitulation. Okay, guys. All right. I hope I gave you enough stuff to think about. So you're able to play this and get a chunk out of this. There's a lot of opportunities come up when the market starts moving like this. This is when it's funny. I said this last week. My daughter was born. It's probably going to start moving. I just can feel this stuff in my bones. I swear to God, I've been doing this for way too long. But when the market starts moving, this is when I absolutely love it because the volatility just kicks in. All the tickers start flying around, both negative and positive. It's great because we get great profit takes on the positives, and then on those red days, you should be trimmed because we're going to just slap the ask on big pullbacks. What we can't do is we can't act aggressively like that when we're stuck into a range, right? Because everything. But when we start breaking out of ranges and it starts looking like this, you know, I can play this stuff. So yeah, I think we have a lot of opportunity coming up. I'll do my best to update Discord if I can't get it on Substack, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.